I am coming in to talk about what it is to work with the energies of this time, especially the solstice, in this incredibly difficult year, in this incredibly challenging. Some call it, yay, good to see you. Some call it almost like this, like birth canal, this heart-wrenching kind of year where so much is being brought up to be seen. And I know I've come in before and talked a little bit about thinking about this particular year as being in the chrysalis and the alchemy together, in the dark, in this kind of great unknown. And so good to see those who are beaming in now. I'm glad it's working. And we're right at this really potent time with the solar eclipse that happened yesterday. This particular solar eclipse, and I'm going to do the disclaimer, I'm not an astrologer. I'm just feeling the energies and taking in what I have gleaned from things I've read by different astrologers, that this particular solar eclipse was a lot about getting things in order and resolution, completion, and coming into alignment. Because now we're moving into what is already traditionally one of the most powerful nights of the year, the winter solstice. This is where we go into the darkest, longest night of the year. And on this particular winter solstice, there's a very powerful conjunction happening of Jupiter and Saturn. And just from my, like I said, almost my very basic astrological awareness, I can say that Saturn has been working with us heavily, really heavily, in the sign of Capricorn, which is so much about building and learning and getting it right. And Saturn can be like Father Time or Chronos and the taskmaster, and very much about you need to learn your lesson. And it can have a very overbearing weight to it. And Jupiter has also been in Capricorn and kind of affected by that Saturnian energy in Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn. And Jupiter is more of this benevolent, expansive, angelic force of a big positive energy when it comes into the right alignment in our lives and our charts. And now they're moving into conjunction on the solstice into Aquarius. And many believe that this is actually this acupuncture needle precision point of shifting the energy of the ages, of actually the turning of the ages, really pretending this golden age that we are being ushered into. So all of that is just a little kind of almost astrological, technical awareness for us to work with. And then what I'd like to focus on with you, my soul family, my community all over the world, is how do we most optimally utilize this time personally and collectively? How do we come into alignment and resolve those patterns that are no longer serving us, so that we can open into the optimal, the benevolence of Jupiter's energy in this sign of Aquarius, which is much more about the collective awakening. It's like the upliftment of that heavy energy. And I also like to think about the solstice as the time where the light is returning. We go into the darkest, longest night of the year. And since time before time, ancient people would celebrate and pray for the return of the light, the days getting longer again and the light returning. And I think it's a wonderful, wonderful metaphor for the energy of hope and faith and divine light really coming in deeper through our bodies, minds, spirits, and collective consciousness on earth at this time. The light is returning. So how do we, as lamp lifters, light workers, frequency holders of this new era, this new age, do this together as spiritual activists? And what I'm going to say might be a little counterintuitive, because here we want to come out of the heaviness. We want to feel that light returning and to feel the joy and the levity and the hope. And sometimes it's only by going through the eye of the needle, through that portal in the center of your own heart that sometimes feels like you have to touch, or you're being asked to touch the deepest sorrow, the deepest grief, that you're then released into grace, released into this resurgence of life force and energy again. And one thing that I'm aware of, this is just my perspective, is that we haven't been taught how to hold each other in grief. We haven't been taught how to ride the waves of sorrow and how to feel deeply and stay connected. Our culture would say, take this pill and turn that negative emotion down or off, and put on a happy face and get on with it. Keep on keeping on. And what I'm offering in this transmission is that to really be a lamp lifter, to really hold the light like the true light, sometimes requires us going into the darkest parts of our own shadow and then being with collective shadow without turning away, feeling deeply, grieving together. A friend, a dear, dear spiritual brother and friend today was bringing up the difference between this kind of divine sorrow, the sorrow that is almost like a cry of the soul that knows like this isn't in harmony, this isn't true, this isn't what is possible for us, humanity, like this divine ache. And then the little kind of pity story, victim consciousness of the small self, and the looping kind of blame and sadness game that feels like just being stuck. And there's a big distinction between this greater like collective willingness and ability to really grieve the separation, grieve the injustices that until this time, you can look back all the way back into the dark ages and grieve this illusion of separation and grieve this insanity of what humans have been doing to one another and continue to do because of the illusion of separation. Believing they're separate from source and separate from each other, not recognizing their wholeness and their divinity. So this collective grieving is being requested by us to go in and through the dark night of the soul, to go in and all the way through, to feel the feelings, to cry the tears, and to hold ourselves again like innocent children that just need a really good long cry in the arms of the Divine Mother and Father. Like this is a time where we have been wrung out over this year in fear and unknowns and just incredible drama. It's like this kind of collective PTSD around also what's real. Like we're exhausted by all of the disinformation and the propaganda and the political BS. And this next age has no room for that. It's really about the heart expanding, the collective heart expanding, and being in that divine light together. So I'm holding that frequency, and I know there's many, many others of us, many others of our soul tribe, our beloved family that are feeling this, like this cry of the soul. And, I've gone through my own trials and tribulations and losses and apparent betrayals and let goes, and just been delivered at the end of this year into this portal before solstice to slow down and be really held and nourished by the land here. I've had all these factors come together to allow me to go deep into ceremony with a group of women from the solstice through the end of the year. And in preparation for that, to really slow down and feel and lie on the earth and breathe and pray and cry and let myself grieve the losses, grieve the places that have just been feeling so out of alignment in my own life and collectively. And my invitation is that instead of resisting the feelings and trying to distract ourselves with the usual holiday cheer and commercialize consumerism, material, like just overblown craziness of Christmas, that we go more into, what is this solstice really about? What is this for us? If we can focus our prayer, focus our energy on this time as like a precise, like acupuncture point in the turn of the wheel. And if that light is returning, some say that this conjunction that hasn't happened for thousands of years between Jupiter and Saturn becomes like an extremely bright, rare star when they're totally overlapping in the night sky. And some believe that that's exactly what was seen a couple thousand years ago that portended the birth of Jesus, Yeshua, with the Star of Bethlehem. That's a theory that I've heard, and I'm going to put it out there that perhaps this star, this bright light in the sky, is ushering in this new age, this new cycle, and that feeling of wanting or waiting for something or someone outside of us to make it all better, to come in and to lift the vibration, to tell us the truth, to raise the frequency, that it's not about that it's about us going all the way in and through and grieving the loss and the trials together, and then holding each other hand in hand as beloved friends, soul family, and awakening the star in our own hearts together, awakening to this Christos, this unconditional love, this remembrance of our divinity, this return of the light that we are in our divine child innocence, in the truth of who we really are, in our remembrance. So as we feel what's in the way of that, to hold those parts in compassion, to hold those parts in love, and all the outpicturing, all the ways that we've enrolled people to play these, roles of the perpetrator or the one that's at fault or they're to blame. In my own life, I'm being asked to really just let them off the cross. Just forgive everyone, forgive everything. And it's not about a collapsed, kind of indulgent, like, oh, everything's okay and you can do these abhorrent things. It's actually not holding the energy of blame and resentment and that dense lower frequency in the self, and allowing the self to grieve and release and forgive. So this is the medicine, this is the transmission that's coming through for me at this time, this powerful portal before solstice. I am here with you, I'm listening, I'm always open to responding if this is resonating for you. If you're also going through your own, yay, good to see you, sister. If you're going through your own inner alchemy, this is the time. What it means to me to be a spiritual activist is to do the deep inner work. It's not about going and marching in this sign and that message out there to someone else. It's really about feeling deeply to alchemize and transmute the separation consciousness within the self, to awaken the star in our hearts, that unbreakable, eternal light that we are beyond this body, even beyond this personality, that light that is unextinguishable. So this is the transmission for you, my loves, that as we near solstice, that you take some time. Maybe it's journaling, maybe it's like walking on the earth and really being with your breath and feeling and allowing yourself to have that time to reflect on what you're completing and resolving and releasing, what you're grieving, and then to lean in and allow yourself to be felt and seen. If there's a beloved or friends that can hold space for that. We used to know how to grieve together. We used to hold each other in grief rituals. We used to allow the feelings to completely just wash through us and make us new again. And our culture, with all the consumerism and pharmaceuticals, and you don't have to feel bad. It's demonized these darker faces of love. Grief and grace, grief and love, they are two sides of the same coin. If we don't allow ourselves to grieve and to really transmute and feel, then we don't open the heart. The heart is hardened and armored, and we don't feel each other. So as we allow ourselves to actually feel, we give ourselves incredible life again. We give ourselves this gift of empathy and connection. So I hope this has resonated with you. I know that it's kind of a counterintuitive invitation as the light is returning to go even deeper into what we might call the shadow of your own breaking heart, and let yourself break open. It's been in the darkest nights of my own soul, and there's been several rounds of that I've actually found more grace, more embodied wisdom, more compassion, more presence, and more connection with the divine every time that I've allowed myself to really go in and through and feel. So sweet to see you tuning in. Welcome, Wendy, Kathleen, Natalia. Love you, sister. Marina. So good to see you. So for those of you who are joining later, if this is resonating, love to feel how this is touching you. Wendy says, yes, the inner alchemy of deeply serving my heart. I'm so here in this new version of myself to serve others. We've had 3 days of huge rains, cleansing Mama Gaia. She holds us. I feel her rejoicing with us, rebirthing ourselves at the completion of this hugely challenging year. Oh, sister, I'm so with you in that washing it clean, letting the tears of Mama Gaia, letting our own tears flow, feeling the feeling heart. And sometimes it is that cracking open. I love that. I think it's a Leonard Cohen poem. He says, forget your perfect offering. Ring the bell that seldom rings. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. Let it crack open. That's how the light gets in. So I am breathing with you through the waves, the birth contractions, through the tears washing us clean, the rains, the healing rains. And we are in this together. So as you and I are willing to feel more and stay present with each other, we are part of this huge ripple that is here, the heart of humanity's awakening. It's happening even in light of so much apparent drama and separation consciousness and othering, victim-perpetrator drama in the media. Stay close to your own feelings and your heart, and the risking, the vulnerability is the path of more love, more presence, more communion. And that is the age that we are ushering in. Some say that as we return to our innocent hearts and truly activate those gifts and superpowers that await us there, the technologies of this new age will be far beyond what we can imagine now in the 3D kind of tech world. It'll be more like those inner technologies of telepathy and being able to really feel energy and feel each other and see things. We're awakening to the next octave of our evolution. And it's an exciting time to be alive. So I'm holding both in one hand, this incredible grief of what we have withstood and letting ourselves feel it. And on the other hand, this incredible grace that's dawning, grief and grace. And just feeling how they are together in this heart realm. So much love to all of you. So beautiful to feel you. Yes, more trust and fluidity. Yay. So good to be with you. Much, much love. And I look forward to being with you again soon. Yay.